Welcome to Grow Guyana. This is a weekly journey into Guyana's agriculture sector, bringing you the stories and perspectives from the people that are shaping food security, climate-smart agriculture, and supporting livelihoods. I'm Ramona Luti, and this week we're focusing on the transformative effect Guyana's revitalized agriculture sector is providing for farmers and communities across the country. Shade houses are creating earning opportunities for many, and we're also taking an exciting look at backyard aquaponics, examining how government interventions are benefiting mixed farmers, and a closer look at the expanding agriculture in St. Cuthbert's mission. The government of Guyana has been bolstering the development of shade houses to boost agriculture and mitigate against climate change effects. The Tiger Bay Shade House Demonstration Project is one example geared at showing citizens how easily they can be constructed and maintained with proper management. While speaking at the first harvest of the project, Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa explained how in just over 6 weeks, the women involved were able to harvest 35 pounds of celery, which were sold at a major supermarket at an attractive cost. Our journalist Josiah Williams visited the project and shared these insights.
At the first harvest, the women reaped 35 pounds of celery, and this batch was sold to Massey stores at $1,300 per pound. Some of the crops being grown at the demonstration shade house are celery, fine and broadleaf thyme, and basil.
Along these lines, the minister noted that the journey is just beginning for this transformative project.
Now what we have here, this is the first harvesting will be done today. We have approximately between 30 to 40 pounds of celery here, right? So the price, the current price, this is approximately $40,000 per pound. And every week beyond that.
Over the next 32 weeks at this level of production, the women are expected to rake in approximately $1.9 million in revenue. One of the beneficiaries also spoke about how this project is benefiting single mothers.
Something very good for women because it could help us in many ways, especially single mothers, and I think that the minister and the government is trying, and we are very grateful for this initiative.
Since then, the Grow Guyana team caught up with an extension officer from the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute, NARI, who has been providing technical support to ensure production targets are being met and that high standards are being maintained. Josiah Williams has more details.
Norman Tetram, a regional extension officer, shares how production has been growing so far and what it would mean to have similar projects expanded to other communities.
It's been excellent. If you observe from the background, they're really coming well, and they're coming well very fast. I mean, in the space of 6 weeks, we can be able to harvest 40 pounds already, 45 pounds. And they're ready again since last week to harvest, so we're going to have another harvest. And every week you can harvest like 30, 35 pounds. It's going to be a big boost for families. I mean, they can decide and dictate what crops they want to do and how much they would get involved in it. But it boosts agriculture a lot.
The initiative is spearheaded by President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali and is designed to empower women from Tiger Bay and forms part of a nationwide rollout of shade houses aimed at creating real income-earning opportunities in agriculture for single mothers and vulnerable communities, including those in the hinterland. Additionally, the team also visited several other shade houses, which are demonstrating how efficient shade house production can be and how beneficial they can be for the people involved. Sharing from the field is Josiah Williams.
We're here with farmer and entrepreneur Dillon Weeks at Mocha Arcadia on the east bank of Demerara. Dillon is a beneficiary of a shade house from NARI, which was donated to the Mocha Co-op. As you can see, the space is already coming to life with production underway. Dillon, can you please tell us how production has been going so far?
Oh, production has been going wonderful.
Okay, and when did you receive the shade house?
The shade house, we received it in late last year, right? But we had some delay as a result of the weather. And as soon as the weather was favorable, we were able to progress with the land preparation.
Okay, and what are some of the crops that you're growing out here?
Oh, currently we started with 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago actually, with some celery. We have plans to do some parsley and cilantro.
Dillon, what are you hoping to achieve with this project?
I'm hoping to achieve with this project consistent production, where I can produce vegetables year-round, because this project is a shade house and it protects the soil as well from the rain. farmers, myself as a farmer, can constantly have crops in the ground regardless of the weather. So I want to ensure that our production is consistent, that we can make supplies to our various clients, and we want to ensure that we have healthy vegetables for our clients.
Thank you, Dylan. One last question for me.
Okay.
Can you please tell me how this project will benefit your family and your community?
Okay, Josiah, well, this project, if you know agriculture, how it is, right? Without this project, without the structure, right, in rainy season, you usually have low production. But with this shade house, we can have consistent production. And with consistent production means consistent cash flow. That would help support my family on a consistent level, right? As it relates to the community as well, you know, sometimes how the vegetable price would be, we will have cheap, wholesome vegetables available to our community.
We're here with Mr. Terence Vogt, the entrepreneurial partner in this project. Terence, what role do you play in this project?
Well, basically, I would normally, in his absence, in Bordel's absence, we normally work along, but in his absence, whatever work needs to be done in terms of managing whatever project we have for the day, managing the staff, ensuring whatever project we have set out, it is done in a timely manner. Also having all the equipment, whatever needs to be used, that is operated properly. So basically, it's just managing in his absence, and also when he's around, we work together in terms of having all these projects that we set out to do completed in a timely manner.
Okay, and after your first harvest and many others, what impact are you hoping this project will have?
Well, basically, like everyone that will expect and what they're open to have is basically continuous growth. And in terms of, because we have been having issues with market most of the time, because sometimes we'll have ourselves with produce, but finding difficulties with market. So there's something that we are working on in the future also, having more market, because basically we constantly are working on our quality. So we have that down, and basically we have that up and ready. So what we are working on basically is more market, and as we get more market, we expand more. And with whatever assistance we have in terms of equipment, we put them to use so we could have our work done timely and in a more effective one.
So, Terence, tell us how these specific interventions by the Agriculture Ministry has helped you and how it would have been without them.
Now, so far, I can say the shade net and the shade house that we have received is a very plus, because as you can see, the size of our celery, we have actually grown celery in the past with just the shade net. Without the shade house, and because the rain, especially in this time where the rain is pouring very hard, you'll find the rain dropping and hitting the leaves of itself, and then we find ourselves having disease like red spot. So instead of we having this long bed of healthy celery, without the shade house that we have presently, it would have been just probably a spots. And then that would force us to have to rip it out or cut it out and try to spray it and hope that it come back. So basically this shade house is actually a big plus to the growth of our celery, because we haven't actually used anything much. It's just because it's protected by the rain, because that's one of the biggest problems with celery, fungus. And the fungus normally caused by the rain, because if you have rain continuously wetting the leaf, it hitting the ground and then it's pitching up back. So basically this shade house is actually a big plus that helps us actually to have the quality celery that we have right now.
Okay, thank you, Terence.
No problem.
Aside from these flourishing shade houses, the team also caught up with the students of the Guyana School of Agriculture who were gaining hands-on experience and preparing to become the next generation of innovators in the agricultural sector.
We're here at the One Guyana Agriculture Inc. farm, which fosters the Agriculture Innovation and Entrepreneurship Program. Here, current and former UG and GSA students are demonstrating crop production using shade houses and other modern farming techniques.
There's so many different aspects. So you start from the nursery and then you do work in the farm. Okay, so like in the nursery, you're responsible for the seedlings, you're sowing and so. And then in the farm itself, the farmers do most of the work, but what the students do here is we do sanitation. If it has like, you have to do like weed control, you have to take out pruning. Pruning, yes, you have to, different things. And at the farm, we do value addition, where we make pepper jelly. In my personal experience, I've always been more of a reserved person. Being here on the farm, you get to interact with so many different people, and it gets you to open out more. And having the hands-on experience is really good, because you have your knowledge, yes, but being in the field itself, it's like you get to do the work, you know it is, and it stays with you. You build that skill.
We're here at the farm of the Guyana School of Agriculture, where students are explaining how shade houses and climate-smart agriculture are the way forward, and how valuable hands-on experience will be for this process.
So first we normally plant the seedling and the seed, and this is where the seed develop and turn to a seedling. So in this controlled environment, we mostly control the sunlight. As you see in seedling, we control amount of sunlight, and every morning we wake up, water, remove every diseased plant, and when it becomes mature enough, there's like 2 to 4 weeks, we move it to the shade house.
Shaders are very important. Everything about the field, when you're in the field, in terms of climate change, which is happening very rapidly, the crops are affected by weather conditions. If you look like now, you have some crops in the field that are suffering from, let me say, too much water. They are suffering from root rot. With a shade house, you don't really have this problem. You can eliminate that. You understand? Too much sunlight, you can eliminate that as well. Pest and disease, you have a better way of controlling it within the shade house.
So being if we give you a more enhanced experience in seeing what particular disease affecting different crop, because in a textbook can say this particular disease affecting this crop, but when you go inside the field, you're seeing a different disease is acting more violent to lower your crop yield and so on. So it gives you a way to help to manage or prevent that reoccurrence.
By blending innovation and hands-on learning, this farm is cultivating the next generation of agricultural leaders in Guyana. Back to you, Ramona.
Thank you, Josiah. Next up, the team caught up with a local farmer and entrepreneur who is making waves by blending aquaculture and hydroponics to build a thriving backyard business in the outskirts of Georgetown.
Have you ever considered setting up your own business in your backyard? With just a bit of space and some investment, you can set up your own backyard's aquaponics business. At least this is what Sharella Prasad, owner of Calyx GY, thought when she started her own business, providing microgreens and other edible plants to large restaurants.
Before starting Calyx GY, I worked in IT. I worked in IT for 20 years. My last job was an IT manager with a regional company. I started doing, online research for different foods and things that I could probably buy on Amazon that I could add to my meals. And somewhere along the line, I came across microgreens. And, as they say, you go through the rabbit hole and from one video to the next, and I really liked what I saw. I moved from growing once per month. I had one customer at a time, and I moved to twice per month, then once weekly. Now I grow twice weekly. I supply about 10 restaurants on a weekly basis.
Sharella set up a closed system in her backyard, combining aquaponics, the rearing of fish, with hydroponics, growing crops using water.
So this is my aquaponics system, which runs basically by the fishes. We have an environment here, a controlled environment where the fishes, the bacteria, and the plants are just in balance in their own ecosystem. So basically how it works, we feed the fishes and the waste product of the fishes are settled in these tanks. The water gets, the nutrients get into the water and it flows through the pipes with the help of the pump, and it gets to the beds. We have the red tilapia. Over here we have some red vein sorrel, and these are used for garnishing. They have a striking red, as you can see, the red veins, so they really add to the plate and makes the dish a little bit more sophisticated looking. We have amaranth microgreens, and some of these can grow for the flowers also. The flowers and the leaves are edible. We have some carrot microgreens, and these are used for garnishing also. You can use these on finger foods, stuffed eggs, those things. And over here we have some mustard greens. You can see the different, the leaves. These will be harvested at this stage. They're not full-grown plants. And we have a test flower here. This is pansy, and it's also an edible flower. We have purple basil and two other types of basil over here. Thai basil and the broadleaf basil, along with leek.
While this system works well, Shirley has been facing some challenges which she has shared with the Grow Guyana team.
With the aquaponics system, at different times of the year, we would have certain pest issues. And because it is fully organic, there are limited things that you can use to help to prevent the pests. Our pump, they work with electricity, and when we have blackout, currently we have a backup system, so that really helps us. But if it's over 5 to 6 hours, well, we're in trouble. But I have been looking at some options for solar fans to use in here, but because of the pump, there's no solar option for that.
The Ministry of Agriculture and the Fisheries Department has been supporting College GY and plan to do so in the future.
Most of the setup here is by trial and error and research online, but the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has been helpful, and I've had visits from them before.
From College GY, I am Josiah Williams.
Thank you again, Josiah, for that exciting demonstration. Now we focus on a proactive move by the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture and several other agencies to bring farmers directly together with businesses, agri-processors, and hospitality institutions with a farmer-to-business symposium. Held on Wednesday, March 11th at the Lenora Technical Institute, the event provided the perfect forum for farmers to raise their concerns as well as identify potential business opportunities. Mitranan Singh, the owner of ARV Chicken Farms, spoke with the Grow Guyana team and expressed how discussions held will be used to improve various agri-businesses.
I believe this event is very beneficial to all farmers, even the business owners as well. They bring the buyers and the sellers. It helps with pricing. It helps to the quality. It helps to know what's coming to market. And so it's very beneficial. And it also helps farmers, such as ourselves here, to express some of the concerns and those feedback to be taken back to different agencies.
Singh also shared how the government's infrastructural investments are opening the way for him to expand his business and increase access to larger markets.
Our business is located on the Susdike Highway. So we're doing some processing in Canal Number 1. We're establishing that right now. And things such as the highway that's being built on the East Bank, and also things such as the bridge, the newly built bridge, those greatly help in reducing time and costs as well to bring our product to the market.
He also shared some of the challenges his business has been facing that is affecting the expansion of his operations.
We want to expand our business, and agencies such as the Guyana Land Survey, Ministry of Agriculture, we're having some roadblocks in acquiring more land. We're not a large business, we're up and coming, ARV Chicken Farm, and this is one of the challenges we're having right now.
Additionally, farmer and agritourism operator Jairam Singh says farmers continue to face challenges such as access to financing, labor shortages, and maintaining consistent quality for buyers. He is saying that much opportunity exists for crops that are deemed unattractive.
Each farmer knows we have ugly products, small ones, little crisp ones. Nothing really wrong with these products, but it doesn't look good. Now, end users wouldn't buy them. What will we do with those products? Look, I'm looking for buyers for those products. I have small oranges, very sweet. In fact, it's much more sweet than the big, nice ones, but very hard to sell.
The farmer added that if buyers capitalize on these unattractive products, they could benefit from reduced costs and even use them to create value-added products that can be exported to foreign markets. The GCCI, Ministry of Agriculture and its partners have successfully held previous farmer-to-business symposiums in West Coast Berbice and along the Suzaik-Linden Highway. Next up, learn how government interventions into the removal of VAT on agricultural equipment has impacted Premraj Ramraj, a farmer who has transformed his traditional sugarcane farm to a mixed farm that is proving highly successful. Over to you, Josiah.
As Guyana's agricultural sector continues to be revitalized, more farmers are turning to mixed farming to secure their livelihoods. We recently visited one of these farmers, Mr. Premraj Ramraj, who has embraced this approach, transforming not just his land, but also his future.
I cultivate various crops: pineapple, sugarcane, cassava, plantain, citrus. Cultivating over 1,000 acres of sugarcane, 250 acres of citrus, 50 acres of pineapple. Years ago we used to do sugarcane, and after the closure of our Wales estate, the private land, we all had to divert to various other crops.
Mr. Ramraj explained that pineapples is one of the highest yielding crops on his farm, and he also explained why he chose it.
This is a pineapple farm. As you could see, I'm harvesting from this area here. And these are young ones coming up. It's about 5 months old. These ones here. What we do is wholesale. We give people wholesale pineapple to sell to the market. We used to do sugarcane, and we had to do other crops to supplement the sugarcane. That's why I choose sugarcane, pineapple.
Mr. Ramraj explained how plantain is another high-yielding crop on his farm, and he also shared how he's capitalizing on the current market prices.
Well, for the price of plantain right now, it's $200 a pound. So like, as a regular farmer, you want to capitalize on that. But this area of land here, I bought some filter press. That's the waste from the wash from the sugarcane, along with some burnt paddy shell and low-grade rock phosphate that we mix into the soil and planted the plantain. So that's what we get for revitalizing the soil. Also, after a certain height, you put the waste from the chicken, organic stuff, to get this kind of crop.
Like many farmers across the country, Mr. Ramraj has also benefited tremendously from the government's removal of VAT on agricultural vehicles and machinery, which he is using to manage drainage and irrigation at his farm.
I bought those basically to do sugarcane, excavator and tractors to plow, and we're losing the excavator to load cane because of the manual labor. We put in grab on the excavator to help out with the labor situation. That's very important because you're saving almost 1/3 of the price. This is the A-line drainage canal. It drains from the end of Canal 1 all the way to Vorsail. And there's a number, about 2,000 farmers benefit from drainage from this canal. I'm one of the largest farmers around the area, so I benefited also. So I'm doing the maintenance for this canal every month. And as you could see, I'm using the excavator to do the maintenance. That's why you could see there's no water on the land.
Citrus is also another major crop on the Ramraj farm, and he has recently started farming avocados, hoping to add another high-demand fruit to his harvest.
This is one of the plots I have citrus on. I have about 250 acres. This is a mature farm. So as you can see now, the fruit is in a small stage. Basically for the huckster, we do wholesale market, take some to the market at Lenora and stuff like that. I have about, the avocado, I have about 200 trees. They're second time producing fruit. I'm just trying it out. It's a seedling plant. It's not a grafted. There's always a high market for avocado, just that you need the right soil and, treatment.
From the Ramraj farm at Canal Number 1 on the west bank of Demerara, I am Josiah Williams.
And to end things off this week, we're taking you in a closer look to the blossoming agricultural industry in St. Cuthbert's Mission. Traditionally a small-scale subsistence farming community, St. Cuthbert's Mission, also known as Pakuri, has in recent years invested in several innovative agricultural projects aimed at boosting the village economy. The Shah of St. Cuthbert's Mission, Alvaro Simon, says their crop, livestock and poultry farm is performing well, and soon they will be able to reap their rewards.
We have just over 12,000 pineapple suckers on the farm. We have 4 acres of cassava on the farm, and we have 2 chicken pens capable of holding 2,000 birds. We're just at the end of the first production stage of one of the pens, which we were still working on a lot of like getting markets for it and stuff like that, but definitely the interest in our agriculture sector is definitely growing.
With the expansion of their farms, the residents are also capitalizing on the potential for agritourism, which some vendors and farmers have already taken steps to ensure successful by participating in a good agricultural practices and food safety training hosted by the Guyana Food Safety Authority.
I'm doing like snacks, which is plantain chips, floury, and chicken foot and egg balls. So when you go out there, you have to present a good handling certificate, and if you don't have that, you cannot sell.
I think it is important because when it comes to children, you have to be fit. When I say fit, your physical body have to be clean, and hygiene-wise and everything. Because I went and do a training with Carnegie, I do food and beverage service.
Another important factor that will further transform the agricultural and tourism sector in the community is the completion of the 12-mile access road to the community under construction at a cost of $1 billion.
When the road finished, I think St. Cuthbert would be a better place. I could say it would be a little Dubai, yeah, in terms of tourism, and that would encourage people to do more farming so that people could come in here and purchase our stuff. We don't have to go through the expense to go out and look for market.
The community is also producing local and exotic cash crops such as broccoli, carrots and celery using shade houses that are operated by young community service officers and pathway workers. Another innovative project being undertaken by the residents of Pakuri is the Tambaki Cage Aquaculture Project, which aims to promote sustainable aquaculture, enhance food security, and foster economic development within the community. Although the project began about 6 months ago, the community has not yet successfully reared the tambaki to harvest stage. However, the village and the Agriculture Ministry's Fisheries Department continue to work closely together to get the project off the ground. And that's it for this edition of Grow Guyana, a weekly journey into Guyana's agriculture sector, highlighting the people, voices, and issues that matter most. Join us next week as we bring you more impactful stories tracking Guyana's agricultural development.